Shalom, everyone. All praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, creator of heaven and earth, Ahaya, Ashe, Ahaya, the Ancient of Days, the Lord of Lords, the King of Kings, our provider, our creator, our sustainer, our healer, our everything. So what I wanted to talk about today and bring to everybody's attention, and it should be self-evident, but sometimes we just need some reminding and revelation. So the revelation that he has given me to share with you guys is he's always in control, right? It seems so simple, yet we seem to lose sight of the fact because there's just so many lies, deceptions, and illusions in this world that there's a lot of blind people leading the blind down here. But without further ado, I just wanted to say, he's in full control of everything, good and evil, right? And that's in Isaiah, I want to say 44, and we're going to get to that. But he's in full control. He uses evil to test the good. That's the purpose of evil, to see where our free will is and to see where our mind's at, to see where our heart's at, to test our actions, to test our actions against his word, and if we're lining up with his will or not. That's the whole point of it. So he uses the evil to purify those that are truly his. And what I mean by that, when I say that, is the adversary, who people call Satan. He works for Yah. He straight up is a worker bee for Yah himself. And that name is Mastema, who is mentioned in Jubilees. And he is subject to the creator. He works for Ahaya. He punches in the same way that we do down here. He is the spirit of hatred, hostility, enmity, and persecution. And he uses the minions of the Nephilim, the evil spirits of the Nephilim, and he rules over them. The Nephilim will be judged. However, this angel won't be judged. He's there. He has dominion over them. But he is created to send forth those spirits of enmity, hostility, hatred, confusion, all that stuff. That's his job. That's an actual job that he holds. It's an office that he holds. He has to ask Yah before he does any of his work. This is the same angel that was in Job when he presented himself, and then he persecuted Job after he got the okay from Yah. He is referred to as the hand of Yah, or the sword of Yah, by Yah himself and by the angel himself. They're not hiding it. What Christianity is, it's another test. And Yah is using that, or allowed the angel to use that to test his children, because his children continually wanted to walk contrary to Yah. So he said, okay, figure this one out. And this is exactly what's going on right now. And he's the angel responsible for the incident between Moses and Zipporah in the end. That was a very confusing incident, which we're going to go over here very shortly. He's also the angel responsible for the magicians, dark magic in the land of Egypt, when the Israelites were leaving the land of Egypt and they were matching Moses for a little bit. I think 3 or 4 of the plagues, they actually did the same thing that Moses was able to do, but it was by his power, this angel's power, right? And he was the angel that pursued or convinced the Egyptians to pursue the Israelites into the wilderness, and then ultimately get drowned in the Sea of Reeds. He's the angel responsible for the Balaam that was in the way of the Balaam the donkey, the magician Balaam, when he was riding on the donkey. This was the angel that was standing in the narrow path that the donkey was afraid of, okay? And it's all symbolic, but yes, it actually happened as well. This is also the angel responsible for persecuting Yah's people now in the form of Jesus. Believe it or not, yes, we're going to get into it very quickly. But by getting them to idol worship and walk contrary to Yah's laws, right? Because he presents Jesus in a certain light where it's like it's lawlessness. Zechariah 13:7 describes this. So we're going to go over it again very shortly. I just want to get all this out the way. But once we can realize the deception, and the only way you can realize the deception is by putting on your truth goggles, and your truth goggles comes from the Torah. You have to spend time in the Torah, because that's the only form of truth down here on this earth right now. So you have to know the Torah. You have to live by the Torah. You have to live out the Torah. And by doing that, you're able to understand and see all this craziness that is going on. And then in Deuteronomy 30:19, of course, Yah gives us that ultimate choice to his children. I present before you life and death, good and evil. And ultimately, he says, choose life through Moses. And, I'm here to tell you guys, we got to choose life. So in Isaiah 44, I think this is 44:5, Yah's straight up telling us out of his own mouth through Isaiah, through Yeshayahu, that it's only him. He forms the light. He creates darkness. He creates good and evil. He does all these things. It's only the creator of heaven and earth. There is no one else. There is nothing else. He is doing all of this to test and purify his people. We have continuously walked contrary to him from the days of Adam and Eve, if you want to go that far back. But up until, the Israelites, when they were a nation in their land, he gave them everything. Everything. He gave them land. He gave them abundance. He gave them water. He gave them food. He gave them, fertility. He gave them everything. And they still chose to go, in the way of the other nations. So he pulled out the rug from under them and he let his destroying angel take over. And we've been living it out ever since. So, the enemy, the adversary, there is no good versus evil. It's all Yah. He's testing humanity to see how bad we want it, to see how bad we want him. And we're failing that test right now miserably. And we have to realize that and accept we're created beings. We're designed, right? How do our eyes work? How do our ears work? How does our sense of smell work? How does all of that work together in unison with the environment around us so perfectly that we're able to breathe in air and, digest food and all these other things, right? It's not from amoebas and bacteria and evolution or anything like that. Come on, guys, wake up. We have to be real about this. There is no such thing as evolution. There is no such thing as outer space. It's all a trick. And Yah allowed it because he gave us everything. You don't think his heart was broken? His heart is hurt? We chose the creation rather than the creator, right? So you would want to ask yourself, why all the suffering? Why all the evil? Why all the wicked? It's because our ancestors and ourselves included, we call this upon ourselves. We don't understand the power of speech. We don't care to understand how reality works. All we go for is pleasure. From the minute we come out the womb, we're pleasure-seeking beings. And there's no discipline. There's no self-control. There's no knowledge of Yah, right? Like the waters cover the sea. There's none of that yet because we just want to do what we want to do. So he's like, okay, I created you good. I created you not tovu ba bohu. I created you guys perfect, but you have become without form and void. You're void inside and you're without form. You're not made in the image of Yah anymore. You're made in your own image, right? So we have to correct this. We have to first recognize it. We have to recognize that we do have to submit to a higher power, which is our creator, and then go ahead and learn how to walk in his ways and walk in his law, or we're going to be destroyed, right? Just like the angel right here that destroyed, Jerusalem, right? When I forget who it was. I believe it was King David that sinned and he had him destroy 70,000 people in a plague in Jerusalem. But it was Yah. It was coming from Yah because of disobedience. Again, the angels, they have to ask Yah, the deceptive angels, the lying spirits, because again, everything works for Yah. Don't get it twisted. And that's the trick of Christianity. That's the trick of Jesus Christ. There is no Jesus Christ. It's a trick. He allowed that to play out like that because we wanted to be our own gods. We wanted to make our own choices separate from Yah. That was not his way. We wanted to walk in our own ways. And he tells us we are going to be judged by our ways and our doings. Yah, there's no lie found in him, right? We're the ones that just have bad misunderstanding and we want to, live in a world that is just completely wicked. And that's not what he created. So we have to get back to his law. We have to learn how to walk in the Torah, right? Reject the New Testament and just walk in God's law. And that's it. It's as simple as that, guys. So he, again, allowed Christianity to form to keep his people spiritually bound. So they would be destroyed. That is, as it said in Deuteronomy 28, you walk contrary to me, I'm going to walk contrary to you. He told us straight up thousands of years ago what will happen, what the consequences were. And we're just living out those consequences and we don't realize it. That's what's going on right now. Okay. So, yeah, we don't understand the power of speech. And if you remember that story of, again, Balaam riding on a donkey and the angel that was in the way, it was Balaam said, "Oh, I wish I had a sword in my hand." That sword that he wished for ends up becoming, the angel, because the angel is also referred to as the sword of Yah, right? Because again, I believe it's in Zechariah 13:7, he says, awake, awake, O sword, against my shepherd, and like smite the sheep and they're going to be scattered or something like that. But that sword is the angel that Balaam wished for. So Balaam got what he wished for ultimately, right? Because the children of Israel, like, why they didn't get cursed by Balaam in the moment, they are living out the wishes of Balaam, because again, he wished for a sword, and that sword is destroying us right now because we're sinning, and Yah told us if we walk contrary against him, he's going to walk contrary, send a sword, famine, pestilence, plague, all these things. And that's in Deuteronomy 28-30, I believe, right? So we got to do better. First, we have to realize and recognize it's only Yah. There is no good versus evil, or light versus darkness. Every single thing is controlled by Yah, and it's all a test for humanity, but specifically even further for his children, the children that he has in covenant, Yasharel, right? Who we like to think of as the African-American people of the United States. Why do you think they're doing all these things to, rile up the African-American people right now in the U.S.? Trump taking away DEI protections at work, benefits that the Black community, African-American community, minority community has relied upon for decades, right? Just pulling it out from under the rug, the SNAP benefits, insurances, Social Security, all these other things, because Yah's trying to wake his people up and say, hey, I'm your help. I'm your provider. I'm your father. Come to me. Don't rely on my hands who will destroy you, and I'm going to allow them to destroy you if you walk contrary to my law. That's what's going on right now. You might not see it in a spirit with spiritual eyes, but that's exactly what's happening. I promise you. So again, this was the verse that I was talking about earlier, Zechariah 13:7, right? His hand, the word for hand is Yad. Strong's 3027, Yad, right? Yah has two hands, a destroying hand and a healing hand. This is his destroying hand. And over again, the destroying hand destroyed Jerusalem, right? 70,000 people knocked out at once when King David sinned by doing the census. Then you had the Balaam and the donkey. That was the angel that was in the way. Then Moses and Zipporah. That was the angel that was at the inn. And Zipporah, I don't even know the ins and outs of that story completely just yet. But, she apparently had to circumcise her son because it should have been done already, because, this was Moses, right? The leader of the first real leader of the nation of Yasharel. And his own son wasn't circumcised, and his own son wasn't living by the laws of Yah at that time. And he almost sent the angel to kill him. So just know that there is nothing outside of Yah. It's a trick. And then just to give you further references, Isaiah 44:6, Isaiah 44:8, Isaiah 44:20, Isaiah 45:5, Isaiah 45:7, and Isaiah 45:21. Yah is screaming at everyone. It's just me. There is nobody else. And he says it over and over and over. But the trick of Mastema, and it was executed very well, I'll say that, was, to get everybody to only focus on the New Testament, right? And that's horrible, because when you focus on the New Testament, you miss 95% of the story, because all the books that were in the Apocrypha, specifically Jubilees, right, and Enoch, they build the story out. So you have to get into these other books in addition to what we call the Old Testament to really understand, creation itself, reality itself, how everything functions together, how the calendar works, how the laws work, how everything is supposed to work in harmony. Because right now we're all out of sync, we're all out of whack, we're all out of harmony. Nobody's keeping Yah's feast days, myself included, on the correct schedule with the correct name. It's a mess right now. And he allowed it to become Tohu Vabohu, right? And remember, when it became like this before, he wiped everything out and started fresh. So we need to make our choices wisely, because he is giving us an out. We have to want it. We have to put forth the effort, and we have to walk in his ways. So I feel like this is him saying like, hey guys, last call, like this is it. Come now. If you're hungry for truth, come get the truth because it's free for anybody that wants it. You're not going to find truth in the church. That's part of the deception. The only way you're going to find truth is coming before Yah with a contrite heart and a humble spirit. And that's Psalm 40, I think, verse 8, somewhere in there. That's the only way you're going to find truth. Humble spirit, contrite heart, right? And it just is what it is. That's the way he designed it. He uses the Ish people, right? The individuals to test his people, in addition to master them, in addition to all these things. Because he gave a covenant to one group of people. And that one group of people, again, they had it all. They were living on mountaintops, farming in the valleys, had the best fruit. They didn't have to pay bills. They didn't have to, life was not like this, right? Because the way that we live now, it's unsustainable. We're polluting the environment. We're hating on each other. We're stepping over each other. We're sneaking behind each other's back. We're taking each other's girlfriends, boyfriends, all those things. We don't get to enjoy our children. And our children is like the most wonderful thing that Yah gives us. But we give them away to the government for 8 hours a day. And then we got to wash the brain washing out of their head at the end of the day, if we're lucky, if we have time, right? So we had a society where all of those things were taken care of. Right? We had communal living. We had, the grandmas teaching the children while, the dads running the fields and the moms, making the whatever. And it was just a beautiful lifestyle, and everybody worshiping Yah on schedule, on his feast days, and off schedule too. I'm sure there was plenty of times where they just, singing and all that stuff in the fields and just have a moment where it was just a beautiful time. And now we can't even imagine what life would be like if they cut the power, right? Everybody would be wanting to kill each other. Everybody would be wanting to go into each other's house and take what each other got, right? And the stuff that we each have is not even real stuff. Going through my cabinet this week for unleavened bread, 90% of my stuff got thrown out, right? Because none of it's real food. But they don't want to tell you that because, again, that's part of the deception. Yah wants you to do the work. He wants you to check it out. Because if you live by his law, and it's not hard, you just got to want it. You just got to be able to be like, you know what? This life is stupid. Well, we're going to live for 70, 80 years, get 65 years if you're lucky. And then after that, you retire and do what? Have health problems because you ate incorrectly, because you didn't follow his dietary laws? It's stupidity, right? So somebody has to, stand up and be the eyes, hands, mouth, voice for Yah. So all I'm saying is that we got to do better, guys. We have to realize that it's all deception. Yah tells us over and over and over again. He's the only one. He's in control, right? Christianity has to come down. We have to stop with the idol worship. Jesus isn't coming to save anybody. Like, we have to get there as a culture, as a community, as a world, right? So the knowledge of the Creator could be on the earth as the waters covers the sea. I love you guys. Selah.